Hello everybody, welcome to Sports Federation TV. 2017 gets going. This is what it's all about. This is what we've been waiting for. We're now into yet another year of Federation TV where we look after the federations, the sports federations within the Western Cape. And of course, a lot of this is dedicated to the federation because not all sports federations can have their own television show. So we created Sports Federation TV together Western Cape Provincial Sports Confederation specifically to help promote the sports out there who need a little bit of PR. Of course, some of the sports, it's open to all sports, are doing pretty well already. But yes, we're very proud of the fact that it's another season of Sports Federation TV. And the very first federation that's joining us on the show this year is, of course, sailing. And with me is Ray Matthews. And Ray Matthews is you're the chairperson of Cape to Rio, but you're, of course, the former Commodore at the Royal Cape Yacht Club as well, right?
That's correct, yes.
Welcome to Sports Federation TV. Welcome to 2017.
Thank you.
And with you is Kathleen Hughes. Now, Kathleen, I asked you before the show, like, what do you do? And you said, no, you're an administrator. But you're much more than an administrator. You're sailing actively all the time.
Yes, that's true, yeah.
How hard is that?
It's not really hard once you get into it. It becomes more of a passion that you sort of enjoy, sort of like a hobby.
Toughest race for you so far?
Definitely the Cape to Rio race.
Cape to Rio?
Yeah.
All right. Ray, you're, of course, the chairperson of Cape to Rio. Cape to Rio is an iconic name. Everybody knows Cape to Rio. Tell us about the event. It's really changed over the last few years.
Yes, we're into our 15th edition of the race. It's the 10th time we're going to Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah.
First race was in 1971, and the race starts on the 1st of January. So shows just in time.
Just in time, yeah.
You caught us at the right time. And when Kathleen and I were driving over here, we were looking at the records for the races. And in 1971, it took 23 days. And the last event in 2014, the one that Kathleen took part in, the record was just over 10 days. So, you know, the boats are double the speed they were since 1971. And this year, we've got the most extraordinary lineup. We've got an 80-footer, 73-footer, 47-foot. So we're expecting this record to be under threat again, and it's just fantastic.
How many boats?
28 boats.
From all around the world?
9 countries, yeah.
9 countries.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big event. I mean, it's serious business.
That's an international event, and I think these are multi-million-dollar projects. You know, we've had boats in from America, Russia, India, Peru.
And the administration around this must be quite a handful. Is there a lot of international involvement in? I'm assuming you've got a local organizing committee that helps put it together.
Correct. So we have a local organizing committee, but we do use our federations and our club network. So a club like Royal Cape would have 53 associated yacht clubs throughout the world, and through these we would put out advertising 2.5-3 years ago, advertising the event, and we've also paid for certain sailing magazines advertising in these, spread the word.
Kathleen, for yourself, what's the biggest challenge in terms of this process? I mean, it must be a lot of preparation. You're obviously doing Cape to Rio now.
Yes.
But there must be a lot of preparation going into this.
There's a lot behind the scenes that goes on, especially for a sailor on board a boat. You have to prep your boat. You have to make sure that anything that's possibly going to break, you need to break before you go out on the race to Rio. So you take your boat out for some rigorous training, some rigorous sailing in heavy winds. No matter the weather, you have to go out, break as much as you can, fix it before you go, because you don't want anything happening out on the ocean.
How big is your team? How many people on the boat?
On my boat, it's a 38-foot boat, so we have six crew members on board.
Do you all get along? Do you know them all?
I've done a race with them before to St. Helena, and back again, so 3,000 miles with half the crew.
What do you do to get on the boat? I'm Ray. You've done this for many years. What do you do to get on the boat and there's some guy you don't really get on with?
Well, you know, that's one of the things. But an interesting thing on the race that they did, the skipper and owner of the boat that Kathleen was on, going near St. Helena in January this year, they threw a letter, put it in a bottle, threw it overboard, and a person in the Navy in Rio de Janeiro picked up this bottle the other day. So now they want a big reunion with this guy who picked up this message in a bottle, you know.
There's always interesting stories in the world of sailing. I mean, we've got some real legends that that have come out of, in the world of sailing, the likes of John Martin, we mentioned earlier on, Bertie Reed, and a few other folks. I mean, South Africa's done itself proud.
Oh, very well. I think at the moment we have quite a few international sailors on the circuit,
Yeah.
on the Volvo boats. And I think that if you really look at what's happening in sailing at the top end, America's Cup, the Vendée Globe boats that are all on the television at the moment,
Yeah.
it's really exciting. But sailing is about the 38-foot and the 40-foot boat, and the people that we give in the chance with the wonderful cooperation of Rio Yacht Club and Royal Cape, so these guys can tick off their bucket list, to cross the Atlantic. This is the longest transatlantic intercontinental race in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a real bucket list thing, and
Yeah.
and the top sailors of the world have been doing it since 1971.
Amelia Earhart would be proud of you guys.
Yes.
The world of sailing today is, of course, very digital. I mean, the European broadcasters broadcast sailing on a very heavy, on a very high, with a high frequency, and everything's digitized, where you can track the boats by GPS, and you can see the mapping of where they've. I mean, so the technology is quite an involved. Kathleen, quite an involvement in sailing.
Yeah, it is. For Cape to Rio particularly, each boat will have a tracker on board, so it can be tracked throughout the race from Cape Town to Rio, online through the tracking company.
Yeah.
And the boats returning back from the race they usually choose to have the tracker back.
Do you also track your competitors?
If you're on board, you have the amenities to do the tracking. So you have your data. We've just got a new sort of piece of technology come out that gives us unlimited data for a very fair price. So a lot of us will be looking at the tracker to see where our competitors are, to try get that extra edge over them, to try beat them, get a little bit further.
What about radio communication with land?
Well,
are you in touch?
For the race, the rules stipulate that you aren't allowed to get any shore contact. You're not allowed any help. So it's supposed to be the individual boat is making their own way across the ocean by their own means. So you are downloading your weather files, you're making your own navigation to Rio, you choosing your way. So anything that happens, it's all up to the sailors on board. So it's a very independent thing. Like I said, we have 6 crew members on board, and that's going to be our family for the next 3-4 weeks that we cross the ocean.
Ray, it's interesting what Kathleen was saying now. So is there still an element of traditionalism that you try and keep in the sport? I mean, you're talking really about it's man against the element, so to speak.
Yes, the technology, for instance, the Vendée Globe boats, they all have very sophisticated automatic steering systems, whereas these boats will steer themselves across the Atlantic. You need to stand on the wheel 24 hours a day, and very few of them have assisted winches. So everything's done by the manpower on board. And you're quite right to say just now, they have to get on with each other for this period of time. Everyone has to do their job, get up on time, and but I think the technology, there's also food, water making, so there's freeze-dried foods, water making. So the boats are light, reasonably comfortable diets.
So nothing. I mean, you've still got to, as an individual, tackle the elements. Let's take a look at one of the pictures here. This is, of course, a nice picture of some of the boats. Just tell us what this is, Kathleen.
This is the start of the 2014 Cape to Rio yacht race.
All right.
As you can see, Table Mountain in the background there, and with all the boats starting.
And then the next picture here, if I don't know,
right, this is
Line of Africa.
Line of Africa is a sponsor on the yacht Vulcan. Okay. Vulcan is one of our top boats in local racing, and they've taken on to race in the Cape to Rio race for the first time.
All right.
They're a crew of 6 guys on board. They train together. They're taking
part 2017, are they?
2017 Cape to Rio race.
Ray, do you think how they're going to do?
They've got a fair chance.
They got a fair chance.
They'll have to work at it.
All right. I love the fact that you. Okay, you know how the boss, Kathleen, the boss always stays neutral.
Of course.
You can't really say, especially if there's the chairman of the. There's another picture here of some big sails. I mean, those are, what do you call those, jibs?
The big colourful sails in the front there. Those are what we call spinnakers.
Spinnakers. That's the word I was looking for.
So because Cape to Rio is mostly a downwind race, the wind is coming from the back of the boat.
Yeah.
Most of the boats will be flying spinnakers. It's a lightweight sail, it can carry more wind, and it gives you a lot more power when you're sailing downwind.
Okay, now then there's a pic here of some sailors just goofing off on the side of the boat there. They're not, look how lazy they are. They're just sitting there like having a bit of fun.
They're definitely not goofing off. This particular boat is called Cape Fling. It's the top racing boat one of the top racing boats in Cape Town. And it's certainly the biggest of our fleet.
Yeah.
And hanging over the side there, they're not just hanging over the side. They're held up by a thin piece of wire called the lifeline, where they put their weight on that wire and they try to pull the boat flat, because when you're sailing, you want your boat as flat as possible. The flatter, the faster. So we use the weight on the rail, which is the side of the boat, to get the boats flatter.
Right. Well, there's another picture. Let's have a look at this one here. Okay, so they're not seasick. They're actually
they're trying to pull the boats flatter.
And those little holes in the sails there, that's just to help with the aerodynamics.
They're not holes. They're
holes?
what we call windows. It's made of a see-through sail material.
Okay, so
that's to see any oncoming boats
how do
coming
you see
through
up there? I mean, that's about a couple of meters above anybody.
But also if you see in the middle of the clear spots there, you'll see little dots, particularly on the blue boats on the other side. Now, those are what we call telltales.
Okay.
And they're little strings attached to the sail, and they flap around according to how you trim your sails and what the wind is doing.
Okay, so
those
I
help
always thought
you.
it was to stop from, help with the aerodynamics. It's the whole navigation thing. Ray, Kathleen, we're going to have to leave it at that. We're starting to run tight on the clock. Kathleen, thanks for joining us on Sports Federation TV, and we're looking forward to monitor your progress via GPS.
Thank you very much.
Ray, we know that you've got your work cut out for you. Cape to Rio, you must be very proud of this event, and we certainly look forward to watching your progress and another iconic tick mark on the map for South Africa.
Well, thank you so much, and allowing us the opportunity to present our race. I'm sure it's going to be a wonderful event.
No, well, I'm absolutely with you at the helm, so to speak. It will be. Right, folks, Sports Federation TV, we're now back into our second show. When we come back after the break, we'll be talking about something close also on the water, deep sea angling. Back in a sec.